Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a topic that might raise a few eyebrows. We're looking at the top 10 reasons why China is often considered safer than the United States. Now I know what you're thinking. Are you suggesting that the land of red tape and suspiciously specific panda breeding programs is somehow a beacon of personal security? Well, hold on to your hats and your burner phones because we're about to unpack this in a way that even your conspiracy theorist uncle might find surprising. We'll be looking at actual statistics, cultural nuances, and maybe, just maybe, debunking a few preconceived notions along the way. First up, let's talk crime rates. Now, comparing crime statistics between countries can be a bit like comparing apples and, well, slightly different apples. Reporting methods vary, cultural contexts differ, and let's be honest, sometimes numbers just get a little fuzzy. But even with those caveats, when you look at the raw data, China consistently reports significantly lower rates of violent crime, property crime, and even things like drug offenses compared to the US. For example, the intentional homicide rate in China is about 0.6 per 100,000 people. In the United States, it's more like 5 per 100,000. That's a pretty stark difference, folks. It's enough to make you wonder if maybe, just maybe, those fortune cookies are laced with something a little stronger than just good advice. Next up, let's talk about something that's practically synonymous with America guns. In China, owning a firearm is about as common as finding a unicorn riding a panda through Times Square. It's incredibly rare. The Chinese government has some of the strictest gun control laws in the world, and they enforce them with the kind of enthusiasm usually reserved for synchronized dancing in public squares. Now, whether you're a staunch Second Amendment supporter or someone who thinks the only place for a gun is in a museum, you can't deny that the sheer lack of firearms in circulation has a direct impact on crime rates. It's much harder to have a mass shooting when the most dangerous thing in your average Chinese household is a particularly aggressive teapot. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the CCTV camera on every corner. China's surveillance system is extensive, to put it mildly. Facial recognition technology, AI-powered monitoring, and good old-fashioned cameras are everywhere. It's enough to make even the most privacy-conscious individual break out in a cold sweat. But here's the thing. While the Orwellian implications of all this surveillance are undoubtedly concerning, there's no denying that it has a tangible impact on crime. When people know they're being watched, they're less likely to jaywalk, let alone commit a serious crime. It's the ultimate form of social pressure, enforced by an army of algorithms and blinking red lights. Now, let's move on to something that might surprise you, healthcare. Yes, you heard that right. China's healthcare system, while far from perfect, has made significant strides in recent years. Access to basic healthcare is considered a right, and while there are still challenges with affordability and regional disparities, the overall system is designed to prevent the kind of medical bankruptcies that are sadly commonplace in the US. What does this have to do with safety, you ask? Well, when people have access to affordable healthcare, they're less likely to engage in risky or criminal behavior as a result of desperation or lack of options. It's about creating a safety net both literally and figuratively. Let's talk about drugs, specifically the lack thereof. China has a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to illegal drugs. And I'm not talking about the kind of zero-tolerance policy that results in a stern talking to and a pamphlet. I'm talking about the kind of zero-tolerance policy that makes even the most hardened drug lord think twice about setting up shop. This hardline approach has resulted in significantly lower rates of drug abuse and drug-related crime in China compared to the US. Now, whether this is the right approach is a whole other debate, but there's no denying its impact on public safety. China places a strong emphasis on community policing, a strategy that involves building relationships between law enforcement and the people they serve. Now, before you roll your eyes and mutter something about kumbaya policing, hear me out. When police officers are seen as members of the community rather than an occupying force, it can foster trust, encourage cooperation, and ultimately lead to a safer environment for everyone. This approach is often credited with helping to prevent crime, resolve conflicts peacefully, and create a sense of shared responsibility for safety. It's not about being best friends with the police. but it is about fostering a sense of mutual respect and understanding. Now, this next one is a bit more complicated. China has a significantly lower rate of homelessness compared to the United States. Now, before you start picturing a utopia where everyone has a roof over their heads, it's important to acknowledge that this is a complex issue with a complex set of factors at play. Some argue that China's strong social safety net and emphasis on family support play a role in preventing homelessness. Others point to less savory factors, such as the forced relocation of individuals from urban areas. Whatever the reasons, the relative lack of visible homelessness in China does contribute to a sense of order and safety, at least on the surface. Let's talk about traffic, or more specifically, the lack of chaos that often defines traffic in other parts of the world. China has a reputation for strict traffic regulations and even stricter enforcement. Jaywalking is practically a national pastime in some countries, but in China, it's about as welcome as a swarm of locusts at a picnic. Now, while this level of enforcement might seem a bit excessive to some, there's no denying that it contributes to a sense of order and predictability on the roads. And in a country with as many people as China, that's no small feat. Now, let's talk about something a bit more intangible: culture. Chinese culture places a strong emphasis on social harmony, respect for authority, and avoiding conflict. Now, before you start picturing a nation of Stepford wives and perfectly obedient citizens, let's be clear, this doesn't mean that everyone in China is always on their best behavior. But it does mean that there's a cultural aversion to confrontation and a general understanding that maintaining social order is in everyone's best interest. This cultural context undoubtedly plays a role in shaping perceptions of safety and influencing behavior. So, there you have it, folks. 10 reasons why China is often considered safer than the United States. But before we wrap up, it's important to remember that safety is a relative concept. What makes one person feel safe might make another person feel deeply uncomfortable. And while statistics can be helpful, they don't always tell the whole story. Ultimately, whether a place feels safe depends on a complex interplay of factors: personal experiences, cultural norms, individual perceptions, and yes, even government policies. So the next time someone tells you that China is a dangerous place, remember that there's more to the story than meets the eye. So there you have it, a glimpse into the multifaceted world of safety in China. It's a complex issue full of nuances and contradictions, but hopefully this video has given you some food for thought, challenged a few assumptions, and maybe even sparked some interesting conversations. Remember, the world is a big, complicated place, and the more informed we are, the better equipped we are to navigate it safely and thoughtfully. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. See you next time.